Each year, the Commission on the Status and Role of Women awards the Louise Branscomb Barrier Breaker Award. This award is to honor an individual who has broken barriers within the life of the church. It's given to a United Methodist who has sought to include women, ethnic minorities, and other marginalized communities in the total life and participation of the church. The award is named for the first recipient, Louise Branscomb, who was a true barrier breaker.
Louise Branscomb was one of the most visionary leaders in our conference. Amazing person of intelligence, integrity, great sense of humor. Louise Branscomb, in my mind, was the first leader of COSROW in North Alabama. She was a member of the General Commission when it was organized. She was one of the first female OBGYN physicians in Alabama. She served in the military in World War II. She worked for the United Nations Relief Agency, came back to Birmingham in 1945. Wonderful practice, great church leader, a mentor. I'm not sure she thought of herself as a barrier breaker. She was just calling it the way she saw it. She and I met when we were both elected to the conference coordinating committee, which was the budget committee, the year I graduated from seminary. And I immediately recognized that she was the brightest bulb in the room. And I learned a lot from her. At one point, she put my name in the jurisdictional pool because she wanted me to serve on the General Commission of COSROW. And I was able to do that. In the time when she grew up in Alabama, it was the normal custom for laypersons to defer to clergy, for women to defer to men, for people of color to defer to white folk, for working people to defer to people with higher education and so forth. She was unimpressed by any of that and would not defer to a bishop or a clergy or a male or a wealthy person, or she embodied that spirit, which you see in the Gospels as Jesus treated lepers and blind people and folk who were lame and others who were outcast with at least as much respect as he gave to the Pharisees and the Sadducees and the scribes and the elders. She got that. She read the gospel. She understood the heart of the Christian message. And it was not about place or status or church privilege or the church's place in the world. She understood that we were meant to be servants and evangelists and missionaries. I don't remember if it was Harriet Williams or who came up with the idea of a Barrier Breaker of the Year award. And I may have still been on the annual conference commission, or I'm just as an ex officio, maybe, I don't know, but we were receiving suggestions and I thought, who else? I mean, Louise. And so I wrote this nomination letter, and just sort of at the end I said, and let it be known as the Louise Branscomb Barrier Breaker Award. It just seemed to be an obvious reality that needed to be named. It wasn't a bright idea. It was just self-evident that she was the model for Christian barrier breaking. So she was a great voice for the church, for lay people in general, for women in particular, but she was just a prophetic saint.
We invite you to nominate someone for the Louise Branscomb Barrier Breaker Award. You can follow the link on this page, and please submit it by the deadline. We pray as you continue in your journey of faith that God will grant you grace to break the barriers that you face and to invite others into God's great kingdom.